malintenzionate. Adesso c'è giusto. Sì, nasce dritta per dritta proprio per consentire alle truppe di avere. No, giusto perché appunto non ho messo riferimento cronologico. Più artigianale, locale. Adesso invece è proprio. Today, the ancient Appian Way is not only a big open-air museum started in the 1800s, but it's also an immense green area, a place where Romans come for leisure time, biking, hiking, and visiting monuments, of course. And so it's one of the biggest suburban parks in Europe. So it's both a monument and a big public park. Buongiorno. The ancient Appian Way was the queen of a road. It was a big engineering work, so it deserves, I would say, to be in the World Heritage List. It would be the first ancient Roman road to be in the list. So I would say we have everything okay for this nomination. Of course, it's a big challenge. We need to, in some way, demonstrate that we'll be able to protect this and also to enhance this big monument, longer than 500 kilometers from Rome to Brindisi. So it will be also one of the biggest UNESCO sites here in Italy, for sure. Along the Appian Way, there were mainly tombs by important families, and so the most important would be the mausoleum of Cecilia Metella, but we also have big archaeological sites such as Villa dei Quintili. It's more than 30 hectares of landscape well protected, where you have the remains of a huge imperial villa owned first by the Quintili brothers and then by Emperor Commodus. Qua nel 1300 con Bonifacio VIII, incorpora il mausoleo come bastione del complesso, poi abbiamo fatto delle analisi comparative con i gaetani che sono nel bastione. Voi sapete hanno fatto anche sulla strada?
Bottino di guerra. Sì.
He played a key role in the history of Rome, in the Italian peninsula, in the conquering of the Italian peninsula. So it's without doubt the most important ancient street built by the Romans. You know that Italy obviously has already a very huge number of sites recognized by the UNESCO, but that would be the first case of a road, of an ancient street recognized as a heritage of the entire world. And that would mean, in some way, to recognize the Italian landscape as heritage of the entire world.
So my parents actually first came to Rome in the late 1960s from Australia, and were among the few people that they knew who had travelled to Europe from Australia. and they talked about this road, and my father has photographs of it from the 1960s. So it was very interesting for me to come back and see it, the same thing that they saw, but I guess from a different perspective, because it's 50 years later. So I think it's very important that these things are preserved, and I think for me it's fascinating to know that the road that we were riding our bikes on was built 2,000 years ago and is still there. I wouldn't have fancied riding in a carriage or a chariot all the way to Brindisi probably. It's pretty bumpy, but I think if you don't preserve these things, then people forget that they're there and other things take over them. So I think, and it's just so incredible that there are so many parts of the old buildings that are still standing and preserved. I mean, every part of it's interesting. You either see the old stones or you see buildings that have been, or structures that have fallen down and wonder what they were and try and imagine how people used the road in the past. So all of that is very, is fascinating, I think. I like the goats. I think that's also, you feel like you're in the film La Dolce Vita with the goats. So I think not any particular favourite spot, but just the experience of being able to be along the road and to enjoy it and to imagine what it was like, over the years is interesting everywhere along it.
Quite peaceful, and it's interesting. I come from Australia where there's very few structures over about 200 years old, so to see things that are thousands of years old is quite amazing and quite a privilege. So